Hey, what is up guys? Bongonzo here. I'm going to show you guys 5 amazing free analog synthesizers. These are all going to be really analog. They sound really great. One thing I think that you guys are going to like is that these synthesizers aren't very well known. And I just found these like online and stuff like that, and they sound amazing. So we're going to get into it in 3, 2, 1. Woo! So how I'm going to lay this video out for you guys is I'm going to first just talk about the synthesizers. I'm going to talk about all 5 of them, show them off, show them why they're so great. And then after that, I'm actually going to make a beat with them. And it's going to be fire. Let's get into it. Woo! And one last thing at the very end of this video, we're going to have some like honorable mentions. So stay tuned for that. So one thing that's kind of interesting that most of these synthesizers are actually pretty unknown. And that is no exception for this first one called Mouseins. Let's just first start out with, this is a amazing user interface. It looks so clean. This is the very first default sound. And it is super duper fire. That's awesome. Oh, that's so beautiful. Basically, some pros of this synth is that it sounds so clean, and the user interface is so beautiful. And they have like this delay section over here. Everything really here makes sense, and it's just exactly how a synth should be, in my opinion. So that's why it's number 1 on the list. It's amazing. Number 2 on this list is SQ8L, and it's kind of an interesting plugin because it sounds really nice. So some pros to this VST, there are quite a few sounds in here, and all of them are really gorgeous. So anyway, this is a really good synth, especially for pads and stuff like that. But there's one little con to this, which is that the user interface is so chaotic. I have absolutely no idea what any of these buttons do. I couldn't find anything online. But yeah, so this is a really great one. It sounds really analog, and that's really what we're going for. So now we're moving on to FB 3300. I don't really know what you would call it, but it is a really beautiful sounding synthesizer. Ooh, baby. So for some pros of this synthesizer, they sound really amazing. You're really gonna like this one because it has really good presets and lots of presets to choose from. One little con is that this is a huge user interface, and like, I don't know if someone who's working on a little laptop, if they can even fit this on their screen, because I have a huge monitor and it's already taking up like 80% of my screen. Now, sort of a pro and a con here is that there's a lot of knobs on here. And for maybe a beginner, they might be intimidated by this synthesizer, but really it's pretty straightforward. There's a block A, a block B, a block C, which are all 3 different like oscillators and stuff like that. And basically you can affect each one individually and then gain their volume however you want in this little section over here. I haven't looked too much into sound design on this synthesizer, but I'm assuming you can make crazy stuff on here as long as you know what you're doing. So enough of the exotic ones. We have 2 more on the list, and the first one that I'm going to show you is Tyrell N6. It is known to take a lot of CPU, which is one downfall, but other than that, let's just look through some sounds here. One thing I really like about this plugin is that there's actually this little like poly or mono feature up here. You can have poly, legato, mono, duo, and stuff like that. That is super duper helpful, especially if you want to change like the voices. Another thing I really like about this synth is that it makes so much sense. It has such a nice interface, and every single knob is perfectly labeled. For someone who knows a tiny bit about sound design, this is a great plugin just to go crazy, because there's so much possibilities with such a simple user interface. And the last one on this list is Tone 2 Firebird. It's pretty fire. It sounds really nice. It sounds really good and really rich. The presets on here are really nice, but I especially like their ARPs. and stuff like that. Their ARP presets are super duper fire, and there's this whole like ARP section to their VST, so it's all built into the synth. I really like it for that sense. One thing I really like about the synth is that it has this fat and analog section. If we go, that's with the fat up. If we turn the fat down, it's kind of like a chorus effect, and this analog section is. Yeah, the analog sounds really nice, and it actually does like really emulate an analog synthesizer better with it turned up. Okay, so those are the 5 synthesizers. Let's get into the video. Yeah, I'm gonna start with this Mouseins because it is the most beautiful synth. I have some paid plugins that are sample based, and they don't even sound as good as this synthesizer. In case you're wondering, here on this FB3000 plugin, in order to make it more plucky, what I did was I reduced like the sustain on it, which just basically means I just took this little sustain and decay knobs. I put the sustain all the way down, and I turned the decay around 7 or 8 o'clock. But I had to do that in all 3 of these categories because they're all individual sound waves that are being mixed together at the end. So you got to make all of them pluckier, so that when they come together, they sound plucky. That is fire. It's gonna be legit. Woo! Oh, I think it is not okay that I am so hyped about this beat already. Gotta admit, this is turning out pretty great. So this beat is super hard, but also super smooth. It really takes advantage of all those synthesizers. I'm going to show you this final beat at the very end, but I'm also going to give you a couple honorable mentions for free synthesizers. Let's get into that right now. First honorable mention is Tyrell Noisemaker 1. It does sound pretty clean. It sounds pretty cool. I wasn't a huge fan of the presets. I know there are quite a few people who swear by this plugin, but I didn't really enjoy it. The second plugin is 62 Tau 1. It sounds sort of nice. I was able to use it in one of my songs while I was preparing for this video, but I just wasn't as impressed with these sounds as much as I was the other ones. Now, all the other plugins I've shown so far have been really like analog-y synths, but this one is actually just like a really modern sounding synthesizer. It's called Free Alpha. It's very, very well known. Let me show you what it sounds like. Sounds in here are really, really clean and really, really nice. I don't know, they just don't have like the same like kind of girth that an analog-y, really like retro kind of synth has, but it is really clean. It's also very, very simple to understand how the thing works. So if you'd like to get into sound design, this is a very easy one to get into sound designing. But overall, possibly my favorite modern sounding synthesizer that's free is this Helm synthesizer. Basically, this is a really crazy looking synthesizer, but also makes total sense. Basically, I recommend this one because it has so many really, really cool sounding presets. But also I recommend it because it has a really, really simple user interface. I mean, this doesn't look simple, but if you don't know anything about sound design, this is the one I recommend. So I'll have links for all these things in the description, but if you like this video, hit the like button. If you really like to hit the subscribe button. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you guys next week, Thursday or Saturday or Tuesday. Woo!